Okay, everybody. I was in the middle of a session, and it appears that something happened. I'm not quite sure. Let's make sure I've got some voice here. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go back in and go over BIS 1123, and I just to go back over again and talk about what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go over case number 10. Okay, I'd gotten up to case 11, but things kind of went kablooey on me. And and then after I've done that today, I will come back I'll come back tomorrow or Saturday and give you guys the rest. And what I'll do is I'll show you exam one, part one, the correct answers, as well as go over the key for exam one, part two. And let's see, I want to get over here and let me get I want to make an announcement. I think what I want to do is send everybody an email. So let me get over here to the email. And this is not the first time it's happened. It won't be the last. I'm sure there were some people that were emailing me. Yeah. Okay, now let me get over here and I'll send a new message to everybody. And let's see. There's problem analysis. And okay, everybody, let me go back here now to the calendar area and then pop back to that's all been sent. Now, today, and just kind of keep us focused, and I do apologize, but I've just wasted an hour of my time too. Oh yeah, it wasn't a waste. Those who are here and those who are streaming got something out of it. Tonight we had exam one, part one, and exam one, part two were due. I provided everybody a sample exam which you could download and take a look at. And then I provided you some instructions on exam one, part two, and I'll talk some more about that. Upload case 6, you should have already done that. We've been working through these. And where we're at tonight is we're going to work on case number 10. And I'm going to go through it and talk about. And so case number 10 is over in the files area. Some of you may have uploaded it already before my machine went down. And something happened there. My machine froze up. Maybe I don't know if I lost power. What happened? I had to stop and take the battery out and reset the machine. Anyway, that being said, okay, we're going to come down. It's called XLS X10. Okay, and I'm going to find it here. XLS X10, September 21. 2017, and that's the case I'm going to go over tonight. And then tomorrow or Saturday, I'll go over tomorrow, Saturday, I will go over the I'll go over the let's take that down to some sizers so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, and I'm going to work with a couple of database functions here. Let me take this down. All right, and so that you can see everything. There we go. And we have a little bit of a screen issue going on there, but in this case, we use two basic database functions. One of them we use is the SUMIF function, and it's right here in cell J12. And we also work with the VLOOKUP function. These are database functions where we select certain cells and we do something with them on the basis of whether or not they fit a criteria. Okay, now this is a company and they're showing the amount of money that they have outstanding in terms of receivables. Okay, and you can go over and you can do some work on the net, but I have a couple of places. But let's say that, for example, you have all these uncollected money. That's what a receivable is. And let's say that your profit margin is 3%. Here's how much in additional sales you'll have to recapture this money. Divide it by 0.03, and boom. You'll have to have $407,000 in extra sales to get back that money you lost. Okay, that's a pretty startling thing. If you go out on the net, one of the sources that I provided and I was showing everybody tonight, if it's $2,500, you have to have almost $87,000 in additional sales to get that 3%. It's basically 33%. If your profit margin is 33%, then you basically take 33 times that. A lot of money in additional sales you have to come up with. So you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to handle the receivables. You want to make sure that debt doesn't get out of control. In other words, what people owe you, the receivables. Okay? Now, here's the deal. If you have someone who owes you money, you've made a sale to them, you sold them some equipment or whatever, and they haven't paid you, they're known as a receivable. And receivables can be categorized pretty much in these categories as current, 31 to 60 days, 61 to 90 days, or over 90. Okay? Now, the odds of you collecting all or a great portion of that money drop significantly as the debt gets older. Okay? There's another problem involved in this. And the other problem that's all involved is called the time value of money. Now, most of us understand the idea of interest. We understand that if I put in $100 and earn 6% interest, I'll get $106. But what we don't understand is if I have $100 and the inflation rate is 6%, my $100 at the end of the year will only buy me $94 worth of goods and services. So I'm always concerned about what is the net present value of my money. And as debt gets older, not only does it become harder and harder to collect, but it loses its value. So receivables are a serious issue, okay? And that's why we include that case, and it's case number 10 in the Solve It textbook. Now, I'm going to go over this here and talk about it a little bit, because we're going to use a couple of database functions. First thing they ask us to do is we have a set of accounts, okay? We've got the account number, the customer name, the invoice date, invoice amount, the days outstanding. That's how long they've owed us the money, and the overdue category. We're going to categorize them according to how long they've owed us the money. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of work with our documentation area. It's up here. okay? And then we begin to work with some assumptions. And we're going to assume, first of all, we're working with a mythical date of 7/15/2008, okay? We're going to assume also that we have one, two, three, four categories of debt based on how long people vote us, okay? So then we come down to the computation and the output area, all right? Or the computation and the computation and the output area, of course. Now, the first thing we want to do is calculate the days outstanding. So we're going to do that. I'm going to click right here and watch. Today's date, 7/15/2008 minus D12. Now what we've done here is we've taken this date, and if you look up at the top here, it shows it's a date. While it's formatted and shows up in here as a date, what it really is a number. And since this is a number and this is a number, we can compute the difference between them. And so these folks have owed 292 days. And here we have people who voted us 189 days. You say, oh, I see a pattern. Yes. All we did was we calculated the days outstanding, and then we used the VLOOKUP to compute to categorize these debts. You'll see this equal VLOOKUP. Now let me do this, put you in the dialog box. Here you go. Lookup value, that's F12. The table array, that's the lookup table, and you see 1, current, 31, 31 to 60s. That's this table array, and that's the lookup table, and we had defined it up in the name manager. And then we say, okay, out of this table array, which column are we interested in? And we're interested in column number 2, and we leave that range lookup alone. It says over 90 days. Is it? Yes. And we want to make sure that I show you right here. Here are the formulas. Here's the name manager. And you can see we have the lookup table and some different things defined. Now, I'm going to use the VLOOKUP table, and I just come on down and it categorizes them for me. So far, so good. So we've used the thing as a database, and it categorizes them for us. Okay? Now, now that we've categorized them, we're interested in finding out, okay, can we organize them in some way? And we've done that. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click Home. Then I'm going to come over and to the editing area, okay? And I'm going to click on Sort and Filter, and I'm going to do a custom sort. And you'll see that I've done a primary sort on the number of days outstanding, largest to the smallest, okay? Because I want to know who's owed me money the longest. And then the next is the secondary search, which is the largest to the smallest, but this time it's on the invoice amount. So I'm concerned about the age of the debt more than I am the amount. And the reason is the older it gets, the more difficult it becomes to collect. So I had run the VLOOKUP. I computed the days outstanding. Okay. I even got the total invoices up here. And now I'm ready to, and now I'm ready to figure out, okay, well, where does most of my debt reside? Well, I know that I have $12,000 sitting out there. Okay. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to use a function called the SUMIF. Okay. Now I'm going to click on the dialog box and hopefully it will show us. The SUMIF says, okay, give me a range. And the range in this case happens to be G12 to G32. G12 to G32 is the overdue category. Okay. The criteria in this case is I3, which you'll see is current. So if it fits that criteria, we add it in. And then the sum range, okay, is over here in E12 to E32. And there's the numbers. So we check the category it's in. Okay, and if it adds, and then if a particular record meets that criterion, then we add it in. That's all you've done. So now then we all still do the same thing, and you'll notice we're doing it for 31 to 60 days. That's I4. We're doing it for 61 to 90 days. That's I5. We're doing it for over 90 days, and that's I6. Then we total all of them, and it's $12,220.60. And we check it, and we're good. So we know now, okay, how we sit. Now, one of the other things that we could do, okay, would be to compute the percent, okay? And so I'm just going to put equal, and I'm going to put a $sign in front of the J because I'm coming down the column. And that would be divided by, and I'm going to make this total J16. I'm going to press F4 and make it all. And then I'm just simply going to come down here. Now, it should add up to 100%. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply come over here and put them in percent style. And then I think I may increase the decimal 2 places. So now I know how my debt's divided up on a percentage basis. And just to kind of help you see that, I'm going to take that and for just momentarily make that a little bit larger and then bring it back down. As you can see, 29%, roughly 30% of my debt is in that 61 to 90 or over 90 situation. So right there, I know, okay, that I don't have that terrible problem. So you say, okay, well, what's it now? What? Well, I'm looking at right here at 31 to 60 days. And this is probably, where I want to work the most aggressively for a very simple reason. They've not crossed over into after 60 days land. Okay. When somebody goes over 60 days, they've become a problem. Okay. And that becomes a matter of doing some strategizing in terms of looking at that category and saying, okay, who fits within that category? Is it going to be easier to collect money from somebody at day 59 than it is at day 33? Probably not. but I want to be very serious in my collections to make sure I don't have too much slide over into 61 to 90 days or too much slide over into over 90 days. Folks, I can tell you I've worked in commercial collections on behalf of the debtor, working for a company that negotiated consumer debt. I worked on the other side for the people who collected debts. Neither one is a pleasant place to be. And I know that you've heard people say, you know, debt's a sin or some, look, debt is a tool. You use it like a tool. You borrow money, okay, and use it when it will be of benefit to you, when you will get a return on your investment that makes it worthwhile. That being said, I think I'm probably at a good point or segue to stop and say, okay, this is case 10. This is what you will want to upload. It's called XLS 10, September 21, 2017. You'll want to upload this for case 10. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, okay, and I will go back and my next screencast, I will go over the exam and case 10, pardon me, case 11. If anything, probably the exam, okay? And I'll go over the answers, the key, and for both parts. And if we hadn't had this technical difficulty, I went ahead and went on and did a case number 11, but I really feel like it's more apropos for me to stop and to go back over exam number 1 and talk about that so you can put your scores into perspective if you didn't do as well as you thought you were going to do. And there may be some things that I'll have to take a look at, okay, in terms of looking at maybe curving scores or something like that. But folks, let me speak with you real quickly, okay, and very directly. I give you a lot of points in this course. I tell you, just try to work on it, okay? Try to learn something, and then I'll show you the solution. And my belief is that between the two of those, if you're working hard like you ought to be for the course, it will make sense. When I provide you an example, okay, now I'm going to close this off for just a minute. And I'm not going to save anything here, okay? When I provide you an example, and I'm going to go over here to the modules, all right? There's not a whole lot I can do here. If I'm going to go down here to week 4, which is where we're at, there's not a whole lot I can do. If I give you a sample exam you can download, okay, which is so much like the exam you took, it's not even funny. Now, some of you may have tried to just deal with the rendering of it rather than downloading the file. If you download the file, you're in good shape. And that's been sitting there since the start of the course. And I know that I've mentioned it a number of times. Now, by the same token, exam 2, okay, that was based, all I ask you to do is go back and take the file you'd worked on with case number 6, Badger Jams, change some variables, and tell me what the break-even price is. So there was anything there I thought was terribly world challenging. So you should have done pretty well. But I understand if you didn't, you'll be all panicky and all that. But look, if you do all of these cases, if you just upload and you try, you're getting points for that, okay? And there's a lot of those. And, you know, if you didn't do well on the exam, there's going to be some other exams. So you're going to have some opportunities here to be okay. Now, the main thing I do is I certainly take a look at participation. And when I started tonight, I had one person who was beaming in, and I think maybe I had two of them when everything went kablooey on me. I don't have anybody right now. That's obvious, okay? Because if that's obvious, I lost that file, but I'm redoing it, and I'm making a commitment to you, okay, that I will go over the scores either tomorrow or Saturday. Now, as you're well aware, rather than me being able to do that tomorrow morning, as I usually do, I have to come here and we're going to see the mentor lecture. Now, the person who's coming is very good. He has a lot of good things to say. So that'll take some time. And then tomorrow afternoon or Saturday morning, I'll go over exam number 1, show you the answers, okay, and kind of debrief you on that. If you didn't do well, don't go crazy. There's no point in it. Life is too short. If I have to curve them, I'll curve them. But I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to use the exam as a way to kick you out of school or get you in trouble or lose your athletic scholarship. By the same token, though, reasonably, you should do pretty well, because I provided you an example. I told you what was on it, and you've had this. It's the 21st of September, and we started class on the 24th of August. That's like a month, and you could have worked on this any given time. Okay. So that being said, I'm going to wrap this up at 7:43. I think I've spent maybe 35 or 40 minutes or so. We'll get to your 110. You're supposed to have 150 minutes of instruction, so I'll do 110 minutes going over the exam. I know that for sure, going over it. And then if I'm lucky and I go well and I can, I will probably go over case number 11. But I may just go in depth in exam number 1, exam number 2. And I'm certain my email will be filled with all kinds of stuff. I understand. And look, if you make the effort, with these cases and you do fairly well on the exams, you shouldn't have trouble getting through the course. You really should. You have to work pretty hard in my class to not do well. And goodness, I don't know. There are well, let's look at it for a minute, since everybody's going to be all hot and bothered about grades and their scores. And let's take a look at that. Let's see the point distribution. I'll just show you. Okay, I know you're going to be all hot and bothered, so let's, that's understandable. I appreciate that. You've got 13 Excel cases. They're 10 points each. It's 100. All you have to do is try. That's 130 points. Then you have 6 Access cases. Okay, that's another 60 points. Okay, and then you have some of these quizzes. You should be able to do well on them. The function paper, you should do well on it. That's 75. The spatial analysis exercise, you do well on that. That's another 135. And then you've got the final exams. And so, folks, I've structured this where you'd really have to work hard not to do well, at least not to pass. Now, I can't guarantee you that you'll pass if you don't turn in all your assignments or something like that. But, okay, I'm not here about trying to flunk people out or anything like that at all, so don't get panicky. But make sure you ask yourself this question, and I'll take it back here. Did you, before today or yesterday, come down here and take a look, okay, at the sample exam? Did you try to do it at 5 o'clock tonight and find out you probably couldn't? Did you try to do this at 5:30? Folks, I'll be able to tell what time you uploaded your work. And again, this is a thing where you need to work ahead. You can. I've got it structured such that you should. Anyway, everybody, I appreciate your time, and I'm going to shut this off, and then I will do a second. So this will become September 21st, part 1, and then I'll do a September 21st, part 2, Friday or Saturday. Okay. Thank you much, and God bless you. Don't get all whiffed out about this or crazy. Worst things have happened if you didn't do well. And if you did do well, congratulations.